Well, you mentioned on the radio this afternoon about the case of the recent college suicide. And and even tonight when you're talking about psychological and emotional, I mean, it really is more shaded, it sounds like, and I don't know, subtle is the word, but it permeates everything.
It does. It permeates everything, and you're right, it's shaded and it's subtle, and it's when it's verbal and emotional.
That when you were talking about the mom and baby, I think this is pretty verbal even.
Yeah.
Emotional might be the most sustained or deepest impact.
I think it is. And the way I was taught was any physical pain I've ever had, I can't will it to come back. No matter how much I think of having broken a leg or a nose or whatever, I can't really bring that physical pain back. Emotional pain, I can do it very quickly. If that continues as a pattern throughout that kid's life, they sort of have two decisions to make, or one decision to make about two things. That, you know, the people who are supposed to care for me and protect me, they won't. But they'll do it arbitrarily. So the child thinks, I have to do whatever I have to maintain that bond. Because I need this person for literal survival. I can't get food and shelter and clothing by myself. And we need that emotional bond too. And those are all vital. So the child says, I will do whatever I have to maintain this. That's what happens with most of us. Most of us identify that bond as the thing we need to remain part of the human race. So people who don't decide that in that direction, they go the other way. And they decide, my needs are not going to be met by my caretaker. The people who are supposed to love and protect me don't. Everything I need has to come from inside me. That's when we get someone who ends up with no empathy. That's when we get a sociopath. And that's the scariest person, because they don't value any bond with the rest of us. The rest of us become objects to manipulate and push around. Get to that? It's a learned behavior. And all our behaviors are pretty much learned. How we walk, you know, how we address other people. It's learned behavior. We've seen it somewhere. We've seen it successfully somewhere. Maybe not our parents, maybe not relatives, maybe the friends we hang out with. It's a choice of conduct. And someone chooses to act like this. And at some point they will say, I couldn't help myself. You made me mad. You made me mad, it's your fault. I went off on you. But it's a choice of conduct that they saw as successful. And it was at some point, because if they were never successful at it, they wouldn't do it. The other people, we can't expect the aggressor to change their behavior. Like you were saying, they like it, and they're getting away with it, it's successful. I mean, even the police sided with it. The hard part, this is emotional self-defense, where the first step in any self-defense is finding out what hurts. Like, if I'm training this guy here to box, I'm his corner man, and I tell him, you know, keep your elbows up, protect your face, keep your chin down, you don't want to get hit in the throat. But I tell him the one thing that's never going to hurt you is a hook to the side. It won't bother you. So he gets in the ring after months and months of training. He's doing excellent until he gets hooked to the side. He never did a sit-up in his life, and it just knocks the wind right out of him. And it's the equivalent of me yelling at him, I told you that doesn't hurt. What's wrong with you? Well, it does hurt. And we have to be able to recognize our pain and say, that hurts. Because the hard part is there's no simple answer for whether it's in the schoolyard or it's family or the workplace. There isn't a list of bullet points as to what we do. The one thing we have to do is something. Anything that says this is unacceptable. Like you yourself said, I allowed it to happen. Yeah, you're right. And this is where we hope to step away from the rest of the anti-bullying field, is we don't care why the bully did what he did. We have to make them stop. And the hardest part is exactly what you pointed out, is because it's all so ephemeral and it's all feelings. And, all right, when it's emotional or verbal abuse, so someone says something to me and I confront them on it, and if you heard the show today, I went through this. There's a second injury that comes right after when the bully wants to defend himself. He says, "I never said that," which actually the aggressors in the Tyler Clementi case, they've already said that. They already said, "We didn't do it. Whatever you're going to accuse us of, we didn't do it. You're going to charge us with a hate crime or reckless endangerment. We didn't do it." So they're already on step one. They're saying, "We didn't do it." After that, it's, "Well, you misunderstood me." The blame is still the target's. First, when the aggressor says, "I didn't do it," the aggressor is hoping that the target will believe that I'm just delusional. Okay, they didn't do that. The target has to totally change their memory. After that comes, "Well, you misunderstood. I said something like that, but you're not exactly all the way there. You don't really get it." And after that, it just keeps rolling when you keep confronting the aggressor. Except, "Well, that's not what I meant." And maybe a little bit of the blame is mine as the aggressor, because I wasn't totally clear how I wanted to insult you. That's what they're saying. And after that, "You're too sensitive."
The whole act of getting involved in this argument just dissipates that someone has been targeted.
Each one is meant to erode the target's self-esteem more.
Yeah.
And by the end of it, the target's just so sick of it, especially when it's a relationship, like we were saying, they want to protect. This is a relationship I want to maintain and repair. They're just like, "Oh, just let this stop." So then the aggressor's last one is, "Well, let's just forget this and start over." And by then, the target's sort of willing to, just to end this, because each one has been another shot to their self-esteem.